Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Lions Live. For this double header, Lions will be playing Bruton Parker this game. They beat St. Francis last game 13-3 and looking for, once again, a sweep. On the mound today for the Lions against Bruton Parker is J.D. McCurry out of Whitwell, Tennessee. We also have a few position changes since last game, as Evan Robinson is the catcher and Jaron Morris is now the first baseman. Both of these teams on the field both have a win today. Bruton Parker beat St. Francis. Not sure exactly what the score was, but it was by a lot. And then, once again, the Bryan Lions beat St. Francis 13-3. So unlike last game, we're starting off this game with a cloudy sky, and the wind is now blowing to right field, as the first pitch of this game is a strike. And the next pitch is popped up. The question is, will it stay in for Kitty to catch it? And he will. Good job right there by Evan Robinson, a.k.a. Kitty, to make the catch on that play. And now there's one down.
Yeah, with the wind blowing like it is, that can prove to be one of the toughest plays to make. He made it look easy.
Here's the pitch from McCurry, and that's in there for strike one. The 0-1, and that one is in there on the outside corner. Count now moves to 0-2. So now here's the 0-2 from McCurry, and a swing and a miss, but the ball will get away from the catcher. So it'll be ruled as a strikeout, but the runner will get to first base on the drop third. So now runner at first base with one out. Here's the pitch, and that one's in there for strike one. Middle infield in double play depth currently. Trying to get McCurry out of here and back in the dugout as quickly as possible with a few pitches, as that pitch just is off the mark for ball one. And McCurry steps off. And a great move right there from McCurry, and the runner is picked off. Caught him sleeping over there at first. Really good move right there, and now there's two outs.
Those left-handed moves can be really tough to read, and McCurry caught him leaning there.
So now here's the 1-1, and a swing and a miss, strike two. Now here's the 1-2. Swing hit back up the middle, but right to Cyrus Campos, and there it is. There's the third out. Clean inning for J.D. McCurry. We'll be right back after this break. All right, here we go now in the bottom of the first. Leading off for the Lions is Cyrus Campos. And not really sure what's happening. It appears that maybe some Bruton Parker players were out of the dugout and umpire was trying to tell them to get back in. So here's the first pitch to Campos. And that's in there for strike one. Wind starting to howl over here. Keeps getting worse and worse. Campos takes that pitch upstairs for ball one. The 1-1 is skied high to the first base side, and that ball is going to leak out of play. Countdown moves to 1-2.
The 1-2.
And that pitch got away from the pitcher a little bit. Countdown moves to an even 2-2. Here's the pitch. And that pitch is low. Count is now full 3-2. 3-2 is hit right back up the middle. Base hit for Cyrus Campos. So the Lions have their leadoff hitter aboard. Great AB right there, working a full count and then smoking the ball right back up the middle for a base hit. And now it'll bring up Jaron Morris, who had a grand slam last game.
Jaron's definitely been heating up these past couple of games.
And he'll look at first pitch strike. And a pickoff attempt. And it's no good. Campos back safely. Here's the 0-1. And it's a breaking ball just off the plate. Count now moves to an even 1-1. Here's the 1-1. Outside, ball 2.
I think we might be seeing some action over there at first base. Cyrus Campos is looking a little bit jumpy over there.
Here's the 2-1. And that pitch is down, so now a very dangerous count. 3-1. Here's the pitch. Outside and high, ball 4. So the first 2 batters for the Lions are on base. First and second now with nobody out, and in steps Caleb Ramsey. Ramsey having a really good weekend this weekend. Couple of bombs and just really good bat-to-ball skills all the way around. I think he's only struck out once or twice. Here's the pitch. And that one caught the zone for a strike. Count is now 0-1. Here's the 0-1. And that ball is high. Count now moves to 1-1. Campos being a little jumpy. Here's the 1-1, and he swings and hits a drive deep to right field, but also well foul. That ball was hit to the moon, but it just curved around the pole. So it ends up just being a long strike.
I thought that one was going to stay fair for a long time.
Count now 1-2. Here's the pitch. And that one clips the corner for strike 3. So now 1 out, and in steps Cade Cook. Lions in a good situation right here to strike first and early in this game. Runners on first and second with 1 out. The heart of their lineup up. And that pitch is in the dirt, but a good block by the Bruton Parker catcher. Keep that in front and prevent the runners from making up another 90 feet. Campos being jumpy at second. And Cook takes a pitch outside. Count moves to 2-0. Here's the 2-0. Outside and low, ball 3, count 3-0. Probably an auto take situation coming up for Cook. Here's the 3-0. And that one's in there for a strike. So now Cade Cook is in the hitter's count of 3-1. He's looking to do damage right here. Here's the pitch. And that one is low as well. So now the bases are loaded with one out for some dangerous hitters coming up. And the first of those hitters is Denaj Williams, who already has a home run today and had a few yesterday. There's no doubt this kid is hot right now. And time is called. It looks like the infielders are going to have a little talk with their pitcher maybe. All right, so here we go now. Once again, Denaj Williams, the switch hitter, comes up to the plate, now batting from the right side. Here's the pitch. And that pitch is low for ball 1. Here's the 1-0 to Williams. And a big swing and a miss right there. Count now moves to 1-1. There was no doubt in that swing. He was trying to send it over the pond. So here's the even 1-1 count to Williams. And he swings and hits a ball into center field. 1 run will score. 2 runs will score. And he'll coast into second. And that's a 2 RBI double for Denaj Williams. Absolute laser shot that got over the shortstop's glove. Still only 1 out in the inning, and now runners at second and third, and we're going to have a mound visit for Bruton Parker.
It's been a very active inning for the Lions. I feel like every guy that gets up is an advantage count, looking to do damage.
All right, so here we go. The batter is now Will Curcio. Very dangerous hitter. Lions have a good opportunity to extend the lead as they currently are winning 2-0 here in the first. Here's the pitch. Outside and low for ball 1. Here's the 1-0 to Curcio. And he swings and hits a high fly ball deep to left center. Will it go? It will. See ya. Will Curcio with a 3-run homer.
Feels like every at bat he just extends this hot streak. Barrel after barrel.
Lions now up 5-0 here in the bottom of the first. They didn't just strike early, they are dominating early. And now steps in another dangerous hitter in Zach Terry. Here's the pitch. And that's in the dirt for ball one. Still only one out here in the bottom of the first. Here's the 1-0 to Terry. And that's an off speed out of the zone, ball two. Here's the 2-0. And that pitch is also out of the zone. Count now moves to 3-0. Bruton Parker's pitcher struggling to find the zone now. Wind is now blowing to left field. Here's the pitch. And 3-0 green light from Big Terry, and he fouls it off to the right side. I thought for sure he would be auto taking, but he had the 3-0 green light.
Well, you know, he's not up there looking to just get on base. He's looking to deposit one over the fence every time he steps up.
And we have a little situation right here. Not really sure what's happening, but Zach Terry definitely is not happy as he slams the bat and helmet. Okay, so
Did he get thrown out or something? 'Cause it looks like he's going to take his jersey off.
I'm not sure exactly what's happening. Zach Terry is currently walking down the first baseline and going into the Lions bullpen. We're not sure if he's hurt or what's happening, but new hitter is Morgan Halliday, and he flies one to shortstop. Shortstop calls the ball and makes the catch. And we're not exactly sure what's going on, but when we do find out, we will let y'all know. And Bruton Parker's coach is making a trip to the mound. Might see a pitching change here.
And we will.
Okay, so we do have a pitching change. While we're having this pitching change, we're going to try to figure out what's going on with Zach Terry. And we'll be back after this break. All right, here we are back after the pitching change. Logan Stradley at the plate. But before we get into the rest of this inning, we just want to give a quick explanation on what happened to Zach Terry. When he was hitting, he hit a foul ball, and a tendon in his hand, I don't know if maybe it popped or I don't know what, but he seemed pretty hurt. So it's highly unlikely that he will re-enter, but we're still going to play it by ear. And that's exactly what happened to Zach Terry. Hopefully he is okay. Stradley looks at ball one. Here's the 1-0. And that pitch is well outside. Count now 2-0. Here's the 2-0 offer. And Stradley fouls it back. Here's the 2-1. And Stradley looks at strike two. Count now even at 2-2. In fact, two's across the scoreboard because there is 2 outs as well. Here's the pitch. And that ball is low, so count will now be full. So here is the payoff pitch. And that pitch is inside and low, ball four. So Stradley draws the walk. And now the batter will be Evan Robinson, a.k.a. Big Kitty. Two outs here in the bottom of the first. Lions currently leading 5-0. Here's the pitch. And a big cut and a miss right there. And the count is now 0-1.
Kitty had one start at catcher yesterday. Picked up a single in his at-bats. Definitely looking to improve on that.
And there's a pickoff attempt. No avail over at first. Stradley back up standing. Here's the 0-1. And he swings and hits a rocket right back up the middle. And there is Kitty's first hit. And Stradley turns, and he's going to try for third, and he'll get there. So great hustle right there from Logan Stradley. And now the Lions have runners at first and third with 2 outs. Also a really good hit right there from Evan Robinson and sending it right back where it came from. Ball was absolutely pieced. And now we're back at the top of the lineup in Cyrus Campos.
Campos singled in his first at-bat.
Probably looking to repeat or maybe even do better right here. A single would score a run. And he swings and hits a high fly ball to left field, but that one's not going to have the legs. Left fielder makes the catch. There's out number 3. But the Lions have a big inning, scoring 5 here in the bottom of the first. We'll be right back after this break. All right, here we go now in the top of the second. J.D. McCurry out for another inning of work for the Lions. Lions currently lead 5-0 after a big first inning. And the first pitch is in there for strike one. Next pitch is upstairs for ball one. Count now moves to 1-1. So here's the 1-1 offer. And that one's in there for strike two. Count now 1-2. The 1-2 offer. And that pitch just off the mark. Count now moves to even 2-2.
McCurry looking for his second strikeout.
Here's the pitch. And that one almost got away from him. Almost hits the batter. But the count will now be full at 3-2. And the 3-2 offer is fouled back.
Payoff pitch.
And swings and hits a little pop-up. Campos barely has to move, catches it for out number one.
I think he got fooled by a slider on that one. That very awkward looking swing there.
Here's McCurry's pitch, and it's fouled off. Oh, my. And it sounded like maybe it hit a fan's shoe or something. Watch out. Count is now 0-1. That pitch was fouled off to the third base side. Next pitch is swung on and missed for strike two, so McCurry quickly ahead 0-2 here. And here's the 0-2. Just outside, maybe a little low as well. Count now 1-2. Here's the 1-2. Swinging a pop-up foul almost right to us. Count remains 1-2. So here's the 1-2 from McCurry, and it's a high fastball swung on and missed for strike three. Quickly two gone here in the top of the second. Next pitch from McCurry is high. Here's the 1-0. And that pitch is high and outside. Count now 2-0. One of the few times you'll see McCurry find behind an account. And that pitch is swung on, hit foul towards the third base coaching box. So now the count is 2-1 here with two outs. Bryan currently leading 5-0 here in the second. Here's the 2-1, and that pitch is outside. McCurry worked himself into a dangerous count now of 3-1. Here's the pitch. Swung on and either missed or fouled. Count will now be full. Here's the payoff. Swing and a ground ball to the third baseman Curcio. He gloves it, gives it a crow hop, throws it across the diamond for out number 3. Once again, McCurry making quick work of Bruton Parker's lineup. And let's see if the Lions can extend their lead after this break. All right, here we go now in the bottom of the second. Leadoff batter for the Lions is number 27, Jaron Morris. And he swings at the first pitch and hits it foul off to the first base side. Lions currently have a 5-0 lead. Heart of the lineup coming up. Here's the 0-1, and that pitch is well outside. Count now even at 1-1. And the next pitch is once again fouled off to the first base side. Count now moves to 1-2. So here we go. Here's the 1-2. And Jaron looks at it. Count now moves to an even 2-2. Here's the 2-2 offer. And once again, a foul ball from Jaron Morris. Jaron had a huge home run last game, hitting a grand slam. Here's the 2-2. And he'll foul that one away as well on kind of a check swing. So we'll run it back once again. Count remains 2-2. Still no outs here in the bottom of the second. Here's the pitch. And he swings and hits a really far foul ball off to the right side of the field. And once again, the count remains 2-2. Here's the 2-2 again. And he swings and hits a rocket right past the diving shortstop. And there's another single for Jaron Morris. Now up to bat is the dangerous Caleb Ramsey, who almost went yak his first AB, but just couldn't keep the ball fair. And there's a pickoff attempt. Jaron back up standing. Jaron doesn't really run a lot because he's usually the catcher. But today playing first base, he is going to have to run just a little bit. Here's a pitch to Ramsey, and he hits a chopper to the second baseman who flips it to the shortstop. Shortstop tries to throw it to first, but it gets away. So that'll be a throwing error, or it should be a throwing error, and Ramsey will reach. Now up to bat is Cade Cook. So now one out, runner still at first, but instead of it being Jaron Morris, it's Caleb Ramsey, who does have a lot of speed behind him. Here's the pitch, and a big swing from Cook right there.
Ramsey looked inactive on that first pitch, but I wouldn't be surprised if he takes off here sometime soon.
Here's the 0-1 to Cook, and that pitch is low, count even at 1-1 now. Here's the 1-1. And Cook hits it down to third base. Third baseman gloves it, throws it to second for one, on to first, not in time. So Cook reaches on a fielder's choice. And once again, there's a runner at first. And the batter will be Denaj Williams, who has been mega hot this weekend. A lot of bombs, a lot of base hits. He's been a very key factor in the Lions' success.
He's just been coming up big in a lot of large RBI opportunities.
And first pitch is taken for a ball. Runner takes off to second. And, umpire calls him out. Looked like he got under attack from here, but umpire does call him out. So that will be the third out. Brewton Parker gets out of it without giving up any runs. Lions still lead 5-0, and we'll be back after this break. All right, here we go now in the top half of the third. J.D. McCurry back on the mound. Batter shows buns, and he'll get it down. McCurry slides, throws to first, and it's not in time, so that will be a single, a bunting single. Britton Parker has their leadoff hitter aboard. So now runner at first, and judging based off of that bunt, this runner does have some wheels, so we might see some movement. And the next hitter also squares to bunt. An interesting tactic, to say the least. That pitch is away, or I mean inside for ball one. Next pitch from McCurry. Batter squares again, and this time McCurry fields it, throws on to first to get the out, but the runner will go to second. So Britton Parker currently playing a lot of small ball. Runner at second now, one out. Here's the pitch. And he swings and hits a high fly ball to right field, and that ball will get over. Score now 5-2. Lions still lead by 3. Next pitch from McCurry is low for ball one. Score is as follow. Britton Parker has 2 runs on 2 hits and 1 error. Lions have 5 runs on 5 hits. And the next pitch is swung on and missed for strike one. Count even, 1-1. Here's the 1-1 offer. And that ball is upstairs for ball 2. Here's the 2-1 offer, and that pitch looked like it got away from him a little bit, maybe opened up his front side too soon. Count now moves to a 3-1. Here's the 3-1 pitch. And that pitch is in there. Count now full, 3-2.
Curry definitely wants to pick this out up after that bases clearing home run.
Ooh, and he almost did there, but it's foul tip. Count will remain full, 3-2. So here we go. Here is the 3-2 offer. And swing and a miss, strike 3. A good changeup right there, and there is out number 2. Current weather update. Wind still blowing, skies more overcast than it was earlier, and now it is getting dastardly cold. Next pitch is outside for ball 1. Here's the 1-0 offer from McCurry, and that pitch is in there for strike 1, count even. Here's the 1-1. And that pitch clips the outside corner for strike 2. Next pitch is swung on and fouled off to the right side.
It's definitely be really impressive if McCurry could turn around and pick up 2 strikeouts after giving up a home run. Something you don't see a lot of guys do.
Here's the 1-2. And it's a fastball upstairs, count now even, 2-2. Here's the 2-2 offer. And that's outside. Count now moves to a full 3-2. Here's the payoff. And that pitch just off the mark. So now there's a runner at first base with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. And that's in there for strike 1. Here's the 0-1. And a check swing, but it doesn't matter either way. That ball was in the zone for strike 2. Count now 0-2. Curry in a really good spot right here to get the lines into the dugout. Here's the pitch. And he actually picks off right there. Maybe try to catch the runner sleeping, make sure that he isn't going to move over there. The count is still 0-2. Here's the pitch. And swinging a pop-up to left field. Stradley has a beat on it, calls it, catches it, out number 3. So Lions get out of the inning, but not before Bruton Parker cuts the lead down to 3 with a 2-run bomb. We'll be back after this break. All right, here we go now in the bottom of the third. And the first hitter for the Lions is Denaj Williams. Lions need some insurance run right now as Bruton Parker put 2 up in this inning, making the score 5-2. Here's the pitch. And that pitch skips well before the plate. Count now 1-0.
Umpire made a good block on that one.
Williams already has a single this game as he takes pitch 2 outside. Count moves to 2-0.
That single Williams has was a 2 RBI single.
Here's the 2-0. And that caught the corner for strike 1. So here's the 2-1. And Williams looks at it's a strike. Count now moves to an even 2-2. Next pitch to Denaj is swung on and missed. And he'll be the first out of the inning. Now up, Will Curcio. Curcio with a home run in his last at bat, and it was a moonshot. Here's the first pitch to Curcio, and that pitch is outside for ball 1. Here's the 1-0. And that pitch is low and outside, ball 2. Curcio looking to do damage here and extend this Lions lead. And he swings and hits a chopper past the diving third baseman. So Curcio is on first base with a single, and that'll bring up Zach Terry's replacement, Morgan Halliday. Here's the first pitch to Halliday, and that looked a little out, but umpire calls it strike. Count 0-1 now. Curcio at first, 1 out here in the bottom of the third. And that pitch was just outside. Count moves to 1-1. Here's the pitch. And that ball is in the dirt. Count now moves to 2-1. So here's the 2-1 offer. And Halliday fouls it off right above the third base dugout. Count now at even 2-2. Runner at first with 1 out. Lions currently leading 5-2 here in the third. And he'll take one outside. Count moves to a full 3-2. Here's the payoff. And he swings and hits a foul ball off to the left side. So we'll do it again.
Payoff pitch to Halliday.
And he swings and hits a rocket over the shortstop. So back-to-back singles for the Lions. And Halliday continue his reign of terror today. Batter now is Evan Robinson, Big Kitty. Logan Stradley. Kitty's on deck. Lions in a really good spot right here to try to extend their lead with a runner in scoring position. Stradley is also a dangerous hitter, and he can send the ball over the wall no problem at any second.
He walked in his first at bat. Wouldn't be a bad thing here.
And he'll look at the first pitch, breaking ball inside for a strike.
Of course, with 2 runners on, I'm sure he's looking to do damage here.
And pitcher steps off. So there's his first disengagement. Here's the 0-1. And that pitch skips in the dirt. Gets away from the catcher, and both runners will move up 90 feet. So now the Lions in a really good spot. Runners at second and third now. Now all Stradley has to do is poke a single or even just hit a fly ball to the outfield.
Lions definitely want some insurance here after that 2-run last inning for Bruton Parker.
And it appears we have a pitch clock violation. Very rare. But the count will now move to 2-1. Here's the pitch. And Stradley swings and fouls it back. Count now even at 2-2. The 2-2 is swung on and hit very well, but also really foul off to the left side. So we'll do it again. Count remains 2-2. Here's the 2-2. And a swing and a miss for strike 3. And that will bring up Evan Robinson, a.k.a. Big Kitty. He singled his last AB, and he's looking to do that or maybe do even a little bit better this AB to get some insurance across. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. Runners at first or at second and third now. Here's the pitch. And a check swing, and he did go around on that one, so count is now 0-1. Here's the 0-1. And that pitch is in there for strike two. Count now 0-2. Here's the 0-2. And that pitch is well outside. Count now 1-2.
Kitty's definitely looking for some 2-strike, 2-out magic here for some much-needed insurance.
Here's the 1-2. And that pitch is in there for strike three. So Bruton Parker somehow gets out of the inning with no damage done. Great job by their pitcher. We'll be back after this break. All right, here we go to the top of the fourth. Bryan currently leading 5-2. J.D. McCurry on the mound for another inning of work, and the first pitch he throws is soft contact, and it will go foul down the third baseline. Bruton Parker currently has 2 runs on 2 hits with 1 error. Lions have 5 runs on 7 hits with no errors. Here's the 0-1. And that pitch is just outside. Count now even at 1-1. Next pitch is upstairs for a ball. And the next pitch is in the dirt. So count now moves to, should be moving to 3-1. Here's the pitch. And he swings and hits a rocket to left, and that ball will leave the yard. Score now currently 5-3. Here's the pitch from McCurry, and that pitch is in there for a strike. Here's the 0-1, and that pitch is hit to left field. Can Stradley get there? No, he can't. That ball is out of play. But the count now moves to 0-2.
McCurry in a good spot to pick up the first out of this inning. His fourth strikeout of the day.
Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So McCurry gives up a home run and then strikes out the next batter. Now they have 1 out. And the batter is not happy about it either. Next pitch is high and away for a ball. Here's the 1-0. Big swing and a miss right there. Count even at 1-1. The 1-1 is high. Count moves to 2-1. Next pitch is low. So now the count moves to 3-1, and McCurry's finding himself in some trouble. And he walks him. Curry currently, especially with that batter, was having trouble finding the zone.
That's a sharp difference than what we saw the batter before.
Absolutely, and it sounds like there might be some action in the Lions bullpen. Here's the pitch, and batter squares to bunt, but he misses.
Yeah, there definitely is some action in the Lions pen.
Next pitch from McCurry is swung on and missed for strike 2. High cheese that the batter just couldn't catch up to.
Good spot for a strikeout or a 2-ball.
Here's the pitch. And the batter swings and hits a liner to center, and it'll drop in front of Caleb Ramsey. And both runners will be safe. So now runners at first and second with 1 out. And the Lions find themselves in a little bit of danger.
I don't know if you noticed it, but Ramsey almost got the base runner with a deke there. He acted like he was going to catch it, and the runner froze in the middle of the base path.
He definitely had the arm to get him out. Lions need to limit the run scored as Corey Reinhardt's going to call timeout and go talk to JD. Lions only up 2 runs right now. And this is a 7-inning game. This is not a 9. This is a 7-inning game. So we're about to enter the later stages of this game. Limiting Bruton Parker's runs right here would be huge. So here's the next pitch from McCurry. And that's in there for strike one. Next pitch is fouled straight back. So McCurry real quickly back in the zone after the mound visit. Count now 0-2. Big opportunity right here for a strikeout. Here's the pitch. And, oh, man, just off the mark. Count is now 1-2. Here's the 1-2. And a check swing that he fouls off to the backstop. Count still remains 1-2. Currently 1 out. Runners at first and second for Bruton Parker. Here's the pitch. And give him the heater, Ricky. Strike three. All right, so now 2 outs after the K. And the next pitch is high and outside for ball one. And that pitch is in there, so count evens up at 1-1. Here's the 1-1 offer. And that's in there for strike two. Count now 1-2 for McCurry. Can he get the strikeout and get out of this inning? Oh, man, just off the mark. Count moves to an even 2-2. Here's the 2-2. And not a bad miss from McCurry, but count now even at 3-2. 2 outs here, runners at first and second. This is a big pitch coming up.
You're going to hear the tension.
Here's the pitch. And swing, and he hits a line drive to the outfield, so another run will score. Ramsey gets it in quickly. And score is now 5-4. Here's McCurry's next pitch. And he swings and hits a chopper, and it's booted by Curcio. So a run will score, and now we are all tied at 5 on the air.
I wouldn't be surprised right here if that's the day for McCurry.
I wouldn't be surprised either, but we'll see what.
It looks like the Lions pitching coaches want the reliever to come in with a clean inning.
Does seem like that as we now see the bullpen catcher sitting on the bench. Next pitch is outside. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss. Count now 1-1 here. 2 outs. Runners at first and second. Here's the pitch. Swing and a foul tip back. McCurry once again just ahead of these hitters.
You know, it feels like he's been ahead in every single at bat, and just Bruton Parker keeps finding a way to fight.
Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. A huge strikeout to limit the damage. But now we are all tied at 5 as Bruton Parker puts up a 3 spot here in the 4th. Will the Lions respond and take back the lead? We'll see after this break. All right, here we go now in the bottom of the 4th. Bruton Parker has tied it up this inning. We're all even at 5. Lions looking to take back the lead in this inning, and they're going to have their leadoff guy up first, and Cyrus Campos. Here's the pitch, and it's outside corner for strike 1. Here's the 0-1 to Campos, and that's in there for strike 2. Campos behind in the count early. Let's see if he can do something right here with 2 strikes. Here's the 0-2, and that pitch is well out. Tried to get the chase, but no offer from Campos. Ball 1. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a foul tip back. Count remains 1-2 here. Here's the pitch. And Campos hits a liner, and that ball's going to get down the right field line. Campos turning for second. Will he try to stretch it? No, he won't. He's going to stop at second. So a leadoff double for Cyrus Campos. And that'll bring up Jaron Morris, who has had a great day at the plate so far. And Campos taking his time at second. He appears to be okay, though, and he will still be in the game. So now the batter, Jaron Morris. Jaron reached on a base on balls his first AB and then a single in his last one. Here's the pitch. And it's a breaking ball in there for strike 1. Here's the 0-1. And that ball gets to the backstop. So Campos will get to third. Still no outs here. Bryan in a good position to retake this lead. And the infielders and catchers having a meeting with the pitcher. Wind is currently blowing out to right field. It is a crisp 61 degrees. Count is currently 1-1 here to Jaron Morris. Here's the pitch. Swinging a high fly ball to center field. It's not going to get out, but it is going to be deep enough for the Lions to retake the lead as Campos tags from third. Good job right there by Jaron Morris, not doing too much, just getting the run in just as simply as he can. And now steps up Caleb Ramsey. One out here in the bottom of the fourth. Here's the pitch. And Ramsey squares to bunt, but immediately pulls back. Count 1-0. Next pitch to Ramsey is outside corner for strike. Count is now 1-1 here. Here's the pitch. And that pitch is outside and low. Count now 2-1.
Ramsey with a slow day today, but has been swinging it well the past 2 days.
Here's the pitch. Swinging a pop-up foul down the third base side. Count moves to 2-2. Now, usually you see a batter getting to 2 strikes and you're just like, oh, please don't strike out. But Caleb Ramsey's a little different. Every time he's up there in a 2-strike count, it just seems like he puts bat to ball very well. Here's the 2-2, and he swings and hits one to center field, and that's going to fall for a hit. So another 2-strike hit for Caleb Ramsey. And the batter will now be Cade Cook. Runner at first with 1 out. Here's the pitch, and that ball is in the dirt. Good job right there from the Bruton Parker catcher to keep it in front, prevent Ramsey from going up another 90 feet. Here's the 1-0. And Cook pokes it through the left side, base hit. So it's 2 back-to-back singles for the Lions here with 1 out in the inning. And now Denaj Williams steps up. Denaj already has a single in this game and had a home run last game. He's one of the hottest hitters in this Lions offense right now.
Yeah, Williams has picked up a lot of RBIs over these past 2 games.
Good opportunity for him to pick up another one right here. Here's the pitch. And he swings and hits it straight back at us.
Here's the 0-1 to Denaj.
And he swings and hits another one foul. Denaj currently behind 0-2 now.
He is 0-2, but he appears to be all over this pitcher.
And he takes fastball high. Count now 1-2. So here's the 1-2 to Denaj Williams. And he'll swing and hit a tapper in front of the mound. And he will be thrown out at first, but both runners will advance. Runners at second and third now for Will Curcio.
That's not the RBI that he was looking for, but it does do a job.
And
now
it puts in a good position right here for Will Curcio, who already has a home run and a base hit on the day. And they're going to intentionally walk him. Wow.
Can you blame him?
No, I can't blame him at all, especially in this big of a situation. And that'll bring up the big Canadian, Morgan Halliday. Halliday steps in with the bases loaded. He's definitely been hot today. And he'll look at the first pitch outside for ball one. Here's the 1-0. And that pitch is in there for strike one, count evens. The 1-1 to Halliday is swung on and missed for strike two. So the count now 1-2 here. Bases loaded with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. Outside for ball two, count even. Here's the 2-2. And he swings and fouls it off to the third base side.
Halliday in a huge spot here. He's looking like he's all over this pitcher. Just needs to straighten one out. And he'll do a huge job for the Lions.
Here it is, the 2-2. Swinging another foul ball off to the third base side. And it sounds like the Lions dugout is loving it. So we'll do it again. Count 2-2. 2 outs, bases loaded. Here's the pitch. And that pitch is low. Count now full. So now count full and nowhere to put the base runner as the Lions are just up a run. This might be the single most important pitch of the game. Here it is. And it's outside for ball 4. So a great AB by the big Canadian Morgan Halliday, and that'll push across a run for the Lions. Score is now 7-5, and Logan Stradley will step up to the dish.
Stradley with a walk and a strikeout. His first hit of the game would be huge right here.
Here's the pitch, and that ball is outside and low. Here's the 1-0, and that pitch is high and tight, 2-0.
Pitcher appears to be losing a little bit of control as the pressure builds.
Here's the 2-0, and Stradley fouls it back. Oh, and it hits the light. Count currently 2-1. Here's the pitch, and he swings and hits a chopper to the shortstop. And the throw is wide to third. The throw is wide, so the run will score. So an error for the Britton Parker's shortstop on a wide throw to third, and the Lions will scratch another one across here. And the batter will be Evan Robinson, Big Kitty.
Kitty singled in his first at bat. Definitely be a good thing to do it again here.
Here's the pitch. And that pitch is in the dirt for ball one. And I was kind of wondering what was going on, why they're taking so long. Stradley was tying his shoe at first. Do you think he double knots?
I doubt it, honestly.
Here's the 1-0. And that pitch is outside and low, ball two. So here's the 2-0 pitch. And that one's in there for a strike. Here's the pitch. And that one is in the zone, so count evens out at 2-2. In fact, two's across the scoreboard. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Bases are juiced. Here's the 2-2. And that's in the dirt. So full count again. Good job by the Britton Parker catcher to block that one up. So count is now full once again. Another big pitch coming up. Here's the payoff. And he fouls it off.
Kitty got his A swing off there. He's 3-2 hacking. He knows what a hit would do for his team right here.
So once again, here we go with the payoff. And another foul ball straight back. So here we go. Another payoff pitch. And he foul tips it into the mitt for strike 3. But the Lions put up a 3 spot here in the 4th. And they once again take the lead 8-5. We'll be back after this break. All right, here we go now in the top of the 5th. New arm on the mound for the Lions, Ryan Ely, as the first pitch he throws is sent a mile. Oh, my. But it is foul. So it is just a long strike. Ely did pitch a little bit in the last game. Here's the pitch. And that one's outside, count 1-1.
Ely struggled in his last outing. Sure, he hopes to turn that around.
That pitch just a little off the mark, too. Count moves to 2-1. Here's the pitch. And swinging a rope into right field. Cook cuts it off, gets it in quickly, but Bruton Parker has their first runner aboard.
We've seen it happen a lot today. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bruton Parker squared a bunt at some point.
And that's a fly ball hit to left field. Will Stradley get to it? He won't. It'll fall in no man's land. So bad luck for Ryan Ely and the Lions right there, as that ball was perfectly placed in the outfield. Runners now at first and second with nobody out. And we're going to have a mound visit from Jordan Day, the head coach.
There's already action in that Lions bullpen.
Maybe talking about some kind of bunt defense right now.
I would definitely be anticipating it if I'm the Lions.
All right, so here we go. Runner at first and second now. Still nobody out here in the top of the fifth. We are in the late stages of the game now because this is a 7-inning game. Here's the pitch, and it's a ground ball to the shorts or to the second baseman Williams. He throws it to Campos, and the double play is turned with a good feed from Cyrus Campos. So now 2 outs, but the runner does advance to third.
That's as good of an outcome as you could have asked for from that situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now Ely's just 1 out away.
Again, we're at the point in this game where every single run matters. And whoa, they're calling a balk. Wow. I'm not sure what exactly they called a balk on, but the runner will score. I'm not exactly sure why they called a balk. There wasn't anything illegal with what he did. Still not exactly sure what they called a balk on right there, but the runner will score. Scores now 8-6.
Now a less threatening situation. 2 outs.
And the first pitch is swung on and missed for a strike. And the umpire called strike 3, but that was only the second strike. Things are getting a little weird over here.
So we got word on the balk call.
And it's a ground ball hit to Campos. Campos, high throw, and a great job by Jaron Morris, to jump up and make that catch. Score is now 8-6 on a extremely questionable and bad balk call. But we will be back after this break. All right, now here we go in the bottom of the fifth, and the Lions are currently leading 8-6, and the leadoff Cyrus Campos is at the dish.
Campos doubled in his last at bat.
First pitch to Campos is outside, ball one. We also got word that they called the balk on Ryan Ely because they called it a no pause. We looked at it. It didn't really look like a no pause to us, but you guys can be the judge back home. As the next pitch is in the middle of the other batter's box, ball two. And the wind is starting to howl over here now as Campos hits a high fly ball to deep center field. And it gets out! Cyrus Campos goes deep to center. See ya! He absolutely tagged that ball. And just like that, the Lions have a 3-run lead.
Campos definitely got the Lions dugout fired up there.
And there is strike one to now the batter, Jaron Morris. And next pitch apparently catches the corner, count now 0-2. Next pitch to Jaron is outside. Count moves to 1-2. And that pitch is low. So count now even at 2-2. And that pitch is absolutely tagged down the line and left. And he's going to try to stretch it into 2. It's going to be a close play, and never mind, the throw's offline. So Jaron hits a double, and the Lions are already starting this inning off hot. And that'll bring up Caleb Ramsey.
Jackson Blue steps on the bases for Morris.
Here's the first pitch to Ramsey. Oh, my. If he didn't duck from that one, that was going to dome him. Count is now 1-0. Ramsey, a very dangerous hitter. Power combo of speed, contact, and power. Here's the pitch. And he'll look at that one outside for ball two. So here's the 2-0. And that one is down the middle, count now 2-1. Wind currently blowing towards center. And that ball is low for ball 3. Count now 3-1. Here's the 3-1 offer to Ramsey. And he'll look at that one for strike 2. Count now full. Still no outs here in the bottom of the 5th. Runner at second. Lions have the heart of their lineup coming up. Here's the pitch. And that one is low and away. So Ramsey walks, and now there's runners at first and second with nobody out for Cade Cook. And Coach Jordan Day having a talk with his coaches, base runners, and some batters. Lions currently have a 3-run lead. Score is 9-6. And now Bruton Parker's, one of their coaches, is going to come out to the mound. And we'll see if maybe they're going to do a pitching change or if it's just a casual mound visit. And it does seem like this will be a pitching change. So while the pitching change is happening, we are going to take a short intermission. All right, here we go now. Cade Cook up at the dish as the weather just keeps getting worse and worse over here. Started to get cloudy earlier in the day, then a bunch of wind moved in, and now it's starting to drizzle rain. And not really sure what Brent Parker was moving right there. Maybe some sort of bunt defense as it just continues to keep raining harder. I'm trying to call the game while keeping the sound system dry currently, so I'm going to do my best. Next pitch is swung on and fouled back. So conditions, I mean, just keep getting worse out here. Thankfully, this is a 7-inning game. So runners still at first and second, and Cook shows bunt, and that ball almost hit him in the head, it looked like. I don't know, again, it's kind of hard to see while you're covering up a sound system, but that is a ball. And runners will move up to second and third now. There we go. All right, I now have an umbrella, so I will be able to see the game. Hopefully the wind does not blow this out of my hand because that would be really bad as Cook looks at strike two. All right, count now 1-2 on Cook. Still no outs here. Infield playing in. Runner at second and third. Here's the pitch. And a swing and a miss. Strike three.
That strikeout makes out number 1 of this inning.
And now steps up Denaj Williams. So now 1 out, and the pitcher steps off, so that's his first disengagement. Runners at second and third. Bryan currently leading by 3, 9-6. Good opportunity right here for them to extend their lead. Here's the pitch. And that's in there for strike one. Here's the pitch. And Williams fouls it back. Count now 0-2. Most of the fans are now starting to leave as it just continues to keep raining harder and harder as time goes by. Here's the 0-2, and it's very high. Count now 1-2. Tennessee is just so interesting with the weather. I mean, just a few hours ago, it was sunshine and rainbows. I mean, a crisp, like 75 degrees, actual baseball weather. And now we're out here freezing our rear ends off, and it's raining. And Denaj swings and misses for strike three. And that'll bring up Will Curcio. Lions need to get another run across the board right now for some insurance. And they're going to intentionally walk Curcio for the second time in a row.
Again, you can't blame him.
I can't blame him, but, man, it's the most – as a hitter, I mean, that's got to be the most bittersweet thing ever because it's like, crap, I wanted to hit, but at the same time, it's almost like the other team's complimenting you.
Yeah.
So now steps up the big Canadian, Morgan Halladay.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier with this guy.
As that pitch is outside. He drew a walk his last AB that pushed a run home, and how it's looking, I mean, this looks about the same situation. Bases loaded with 2 outs.
Halliday up 1-0.
Next pitch is hit high and deep. Center field. Go ball. See ya! Morgan Halliday with a grand slam. What an absolute drive. Welcome to the States, Mr. Halliday. You've made Canada proud tonight. An absolute moonshot, and the Lions are now up 7.
Halliday is absolutely fired up with that one. The whole dugout is going nuts right now.
What a home run in a huge situation.
With that swing, this game is broken wide open.
And now Logan Stradley steps up, and he'll foul the first pitch back. That is Halliday's first home run of the season as well.
Yeah, he stepped in a lot of pinch hit opportunities, got jobs done, worked his way into this starting lineup, and that's a testament to why.
Next pitch is low for a ball. What a day for Morgan Halliday. He broke open as a hitter. Next pitch to Stradley is low and outside. Count moves to 2-1. Craziest thing about that grand slam, though, is once he hits it, the rain just stopped. Here's the 2-1 to Stradley, and that one's inside for ball 3. Count now 3-1. So here's the 3-1 to Stradley, and that ball is high, ball 4. And we're going to have a new hitter come up. And it is Caleb McCarty. He's going to be hitting in place of Evan Robinson. Runner at first. 2 outs. And that pitch is called a strike on the outer half. Here's the 0-1, and he fouls it away. Count now 0-2. Here's the 0-2 offer. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So that'll be the end of this inning, but not before the Canadian Morgan Halliday breaks it open with a grand slam to center field. We'll be back after this break. All right, here we go now in the top of the sixth. First pitch from the new face, Chris Hall, is squared at, pulled back for ball one. Next pitch is swing and hit deep to left. And that ball is off the wall, so they're going to get it in quick. And, oh, man, it looked like he might have come off the bag at second. But he is called safe, so it'll be a leadoff double for Brent Parker.
Was that Stradley or Ramsey that made that throw there?
I think it was Stradley.
That was one heck of a throw right there. He almost had him on what I thought would have been a stand-up double.
Lions now currently lead 13-6 due to a home run by a Canadian, Morgan Halliday. Here's Chris's next pitch, and it's a swing and a miss. Chris has many nicknames, which include Special Chris, Chris the RA, or RA Chris, it just depends on the person, and Silver Fox. And his next pitch is fouled back, 0-2. Wind is once again howling over here, and it really doesn't know which direction it wants to go. Sometimes it's blowing out to right field, sometimes center field, sometimes it's blowing right back at us.
Looks like right now it's just blowing out towards center.
Next pitch is high for ball one. Reminder, this is a 7-inning game. So if Brenton Parker wants any chance, they need to put some runs across this inning. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Strike three. Chris Hall with a K.
That was definitely a big pickup right there for Chris.
And he goes right back into the zone, outside corner with a fastball for strike one. Chris steps off to avoid a pitch clock violation. Here's the 0-1. Swinging a pop-up really high behind home plate. This one will not stay in. Count moves to 0-2.
Comes the 0-2 from Chris Hall.
And that fastball inside almost got the batter. Count is now 1-2. Currently a runner at second with one down here. And we are currently in the top of the sixth. Here's the pitch. And that pitch is outside and high, so count will even up at 2-2. And that next pitch is popped up. That ball drifting to right field. Cook calls it, makes a catch, gets it in quickly. Runner does not tag. If it tells you how much the wind's blowing over here, that ball started going dead to Ramsey in center field, and it casually just made its way over to Cook in right field. So now 2 outs, runner at second.
Chris Hall's made quick work of his last 2 batters.
And that pitch is high for ball 1.
He's done a good job of getting ahead in counts. See if he can make it even right here.
Here's the 1-0. And that's inside, ball 2. Here's the 2-0 from Chris Hall. And that one just barely misses the batter. Count now 3-0. Chris needing to get back in the zone right here with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. And that one is low and inside, so it's a 4-pitch walk. And now runners at first and second with 2 outs. Here's the next pitch, and that ball is about where the other 4 have been, just outside to the lefty. It would have been inside to a righty. Chris Hall needing to find an adjustment right here. And he will, as that ball is hit fouled off to the third base side. So count now 1-1. Here's the pitch. And that one is fouled off as well. Up against the back net. Count now 1-2. So here's the 1-2 from Chris Hall. And that's in there for strike 3. Chris Hall records another K, sends the Lions back into the dugout. We'll be right back after this break. All right, here we go now in the bottom half of the sixth. Cyrus Campos, the leadoff to start it off. And he'll look at the first pitch outside for ball one. It's been a great weekend for not just Bryan Baseball, but also Bryan Softball, coming off a couple of huge wins these past couple days, including some walk-offs. As that pitch is swung on and missed, strike one, count moves to 1-1.
Campos homered in his last at bat. Not sure if Bryan needs the insurance, but I'm sure he'd love to do it again.
Help the stats a little bit as that ball is taken low. Count moves to 2-1. Here's the pitch. And now we catch the corner. Count now even at 2s. Score currently looks like the Lions leading 13-6. And that pitch is low, so count will be full now. Brenton Parker has 6 runs on 8 hits. Lions have 13 runs on 13 hits. Here's a 3-2 to Campos, and he hits a ground ball to the second baseman, and it eats him up a little bit, and he will beat the throw out to first. So that should be an error, and indeed it will be. That's an error on the second baseman for Brenton Parker, and Campos will reach first, and now steps up Jaron Morris.
That'll make the third error of the day for Brenton Parker.
First pitch to Morris is inside for a ball.
We saw a similar thing last night from Brenton Parker. Just not very clean defense from them these past 2 days.
Next pitch to Morris is outside corner for a strike. Count evens at 1-1. Here's the 1-1, and that's in there. Breaking ball, strike 2. Here's the 1-2 to Morris, and he hits one down the third baseline. And they're going to call it a foul ball. It looked really fair from up here, but Clint McCauley would agree with me on that one. He thought that ball was fair as well. So count is still 1-2. Here's the pitch. And that's outside and low. Ball 2, count even. So count now full at 3-2 apparently. And that pitch touches the outside corner for strike 3. So Morris strikes out looking. And now to bat is Caleb Ramsey. He'll come up with a runner at first and 1 out. No. First pitch to Ramsey is swung and fouled.
Looked like that one caught a bit of the catcher. Seems to be all right.
Campos at first. He's got some wheels. Hasn't really been a lot of movement on the base paths in terms of stolen bases this game. And there's a pickoff attempt. No good. Next pitch to Ramsey is swung on and missed for strike 2. Ramsey in an 0-2 count, but honestly, I mean, I don't mind it. I don't mind him being in a 2-strike count as the wind continues to pick up, but also Ramsey being an amazing 2-strike hitter. Stuff is flying all over the place over here. And there's a swing and a miss from Ramsey. Looked like that breaking ball kind of fooled him. So now 2 outs, and here's the captain, Cade Cook. Here's the pitch to Cook, and that will catch the outside part of the plate for a strike. Count 0-1 here with 2 outs. Here's the 0-1 offer. And that one's outside and low, count even at 1-1. Here's the 1-1. And he wanted it no appeal, but it is a strike. Count now 1-2 here with 2 outs, runner at first. Here's the pitch, and it's outside and low. Catcher keeps it in front. Campos does not move up another 90 feet.
Here's the 2-2 to Cook.
And he swings and hits a rocket, and just foul. He hit a rocket down the third base side, a liner, and it just snuck foul. So we'll do it again. Count remains 2-2 here with 2 outs, a runner at first. Lions currently lead 13-6. Wind is still howling over here. As my Girl Scout cookies almost bit the dust. And Cook hits one up the middle, base hit. And Cyrus is going to leg it out to third. He'll slide in safely. Runners at first and third now with 2 outs for the Lions. And Denaj Williams up at the plate now. He takes a ball low. Williams up to the plate with 2 outs. Runners at first and third. Here's the pitch. And that catches the corner count even at 1-1, much to the displeasure of Didi. Strike zone has definitely been a pitcher's strike zone today. Umpires seem to be giving chalk to chalk. Here's the 1-1. And there's another one. A good example of what I was just talking about chalk to chalk, because that one was dead on the chalk. So now the count is 1-2. So here is the 1-2 to Denage, and that one is very outside for ball 2. So we got 2s across the board right now, and Coach Jordan Day calls time to talk to Denage. So here's the 2-2 pitch to Denage Williams. And he swings and hits a fly ball third base side. That ball's going to get out. Foul ball. So we'll run it again, 2-2 to Denage Williams. Here's the pitch, and it's low for ball 3. Count now full. Denage now in a full count. Runners at first and third. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Here's the pitch, and he swings and fouls the ball off. Third base side. Here's the payoff pitch, and he swings and hits a single into right field. Cook will round and go to third. Runner will score. Score is now 14-6 Lions. And now steps up Will Curcio, and I will be shocked if they intentionally walk him for a third time in a row. And they're not going to do it. So will Curcio get his get back right here for the 2 intentional walks before? Here's the pitch. And that's in there for strike 1. Next pitch to Curcio is, a big swing right there. A foul tip into the mitt for strike 2. Count now 0-2 here. 2 outs, runner at first and third. Here's the pitch. And that pitch is outside and maybe a little bit low as well. Count now 1-2. The 1-2. And that pitch is outside and low as well. Count now even at 2-2. Here's the pitch. And he hits it into right field, but right fielder doesn't really have to move at all, so that's going to be a fly out. That is the end of the inning. Now we head to the top of the 7th. Can the Lions close it out right here and win the game? We'll see after this break. All right, we are now a go for the top of the 7th inning. Lions have a really huge lead right now, leading 14-6. And this is Bryn Parker's last chance because this is a 7-inning game. Chris Hall back on the mound for the Lions, and he will throw the first pitch a little bit outside for ball 1. Next pitch is in there for strike 1. Count now even, 1-1. The 1-1 offer is fouled straight back. And hits the bumper of a car. Not very hard, though. It shouldn't be any damage really at all. That does move the count to 1-2 now. And he swings and hits a high pop-up just beyond the infield. Cook calls for it, and he will put the squeeze on it for the first out. Good job right there by Chris Hall going ahead and attacking the first hitter he sees. Let's see if he can continue it in these next 2. And the next pitch from Chris Hall is high for ball 1. And that pitch is upstairs as well. Chris looked like he was trying to run up the radar gun on that one. So count now 2-0 here with 1 out in the top of the 7th. The pitch is swung on and foul tipped into the mitt. Count now 2-1 here. The pitch is swung on and missed for strike 2. High cheese from Chris Hall.
And he's quickly back even in this count. He's definitely looking for this put-away pitch right here.
Now at an even 2-2. The pitch is fouled off. Here's the 2-2 once again, and that pitch is high. Count now moved to a full 3-2. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm hoping Chris makes quick work of these last two batters because it is getting really cold and really windy.
You know, I bet everybody but the Bruton Parker players will agree with you.
Oh my, okay. I don't even know if I can say that was a borderline call. That pitch was right down the middle, but the batter ducked, and the umpire called it a ball. Wow, I've really never seen that happen. So the runner's now at first base here with one out.
I might be wrong. Maybe the umpire wants to be here a little bit longer, too.
Well, I don't, so he needs to lock in. And that pitch looked good again, but apparently it was a little off the mark. Count now 1-0. Next pitch from Hall. And I'm not really sure what's happening right now because those have been strikes all night, and I'm not really sure what's going on. Maybe the umpire does want to be here a little bit longer, but now the count moves to 2-0. That pitch is inside. That'll be ball 3.
You know, I'd love to see a ground ball right here.
A 2-ball right here would be great. Here's the pitch. And another ball called outside. I mean, and apparently that ball missed inside. I'm not sure where it missed, but now runners at first and second.
2 balls still in play.
Pitch from Chris Hall almost hits the batter. Count 1-0. Here's the 1-0 from Hall. Runner takes off to third. No throw. I'm having trouble seeing where these pitches are missing. And looks like Corey Reinhardt's going to go talk to Chris Hall. I'm not sure where these pitches are missing exactly. They all look really good from up here. And it's weird because the entire game, those pitches have been called strikes. It's been a pitcher's zone all night, but now it seems like pitchers are going to have to put in a teacup.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier, how big the zone was looking from here. A lot of these borderline calls were getting called, and these don't even look like borderline from here.
I'm not really sure where they're missing, but let's see if Chris Hall can adjust to the new strike zone and once again just send us home. Runners now at first and third on a stolen base. Here's the 2-0. And, I mean, if that wasn't called a strike, we would have cause for concern. That was right down the middle. Now the count is 2-1. Here's the pitch. And it's popped up right back to us. Charlie, make a play.
It's a little bit short.
Chris now moves the count to 2-2. Here's the pitch. And another close pitch called a ball. Count now full 3-2.
A strikeout or a ground ball would be massive here.
Here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled back. Here's the payoff from Hall, and it's fouled. Another payoff. It is swung on and fouled again, so we're going to do it again. Count still full. Another payoff. And just off the mark again, so another walk. Bases will be loaded. Still only one out here in the top of the 7th. I'm not even going to say Chris is having trouble finding the zone. He's really not, but the zone has shrunken a little bit.
I don't see any action in the Lions bullpen either.
And that pitch is called a strike. Count is now 0-1. And that pitch is swung through, foul tipped into the mitt. So now Chris Hall quickly goes 0-2. We'll see if he can finish this batter off a strikeout here. Even a ground ball would be huge. Looks like the corner infielders are playing in while the middle infielders are in double play depth. And oh my, heads up for our camera. The wind almost blew it over. Great catch right there. Yeah, weather is progressively getting worse. If it's not raining, it's windy. And that one's in there. Can't argue with that call. Strike 3.
And with that, the Lions are 1 out away from picking up the win.
And I hope they do it soon. This wind is getting bad.
I'm not sure if you can see it on the broadcast, but you can see the flag above the scoreboard.
First pitch is outside and high for ball 1.
Of course, as I say that, the flag stops.
Next pitch is just a little up, apparently. Count now moves to 2-0. Is hit to left field. That should do it. Stradley catches the ball, and the Lions pull off another sweep. Lions go undefeated this weekend as they beat Britton Parker 14-6. And I can't say that there was a bigger home run hit this entire weekend than Morgan Halliday in this game.
Absolutely.
A grand slam from him. Great job by the Lions pitching staff this weekend as well, getting their jobs done. Really good job just all around as a team. So that's the end of the ball game. Lions once again pull off the win. Everybody have a good night and be safe.